Hello and welcome to the Ridiculously Good VA Show with Tracy Daviero. If you are a virtual assistant or want to be one, this is the place to learn the tips and tricks you need to become a ridiculously good VA. I've been a part of the VA industry since 1998, and I'm excited to get to know you and help you build an amazing business. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast that teaches you how to be a ridiculously good virtual assistant. Today we're going to talk about how VAs help their clients. If you're not sure why a client should hire you, which is something that I hear from VAs a lot, they can't articulate it, be prepared to take a few notes today. I have a really simple system for you that will help you understand the value that you are bringing to your clients and how you are helping them with things that they are struggling with in their business. The reason that VAs exist at all is to help business owners get things done, right? This is what we talk about. We talk about saving them time, saving them money, helping them get things done. And it is really true. But why do they need help to begin with? And this is the one thing that this is my message for you today that I really want to get across. What moves a client into action to hire a VA? Sometimes it's because they know that they need someone to help them get things done. But for the most part, in most of the people that I talk to, it's because they're struggling with something that you can help them with. Today's quote is from Kim Garst, a social media expert, and she says, focus on your strengths, delegate your weaknesses. I like this quote because it's what we tell our clients every single day, right? They need to pass along the business tasks that they don't do well or that are not a good use of their time. They need to delegate those things to us. They need to focus on their strengths and let us focus on our strengths. A lot of business owners think they can't afford to get support, so they struggle learning to do things that they shouldn't do. You're probably even doing some of these things in your own business that you should be delegating. And then they have less money than they would if they delegated it to someone capable, like a ridiculously good VA. It's a really vicious circle where the client is struggling through something. They think they can't afford to get help with it. They don't understand how they can get help with it. And therefore, nobody's talking about that to them, and they continue doing it, and they make less and less money and maybe even go out of business. It's not a very good scenario, that's for sure. But there are a lot of things that our clients deal with in their businesses, and many of them are the main reason that they hire us in the first place. And I want to talk today about these things as being struggles, as I've mentioned a couple of times, because that really is what they are. What is the thing that moves a client into making that decision to invest in working with a VA? Sometimes they're excited because they are moving into a new direction, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the episode. But the main reason that I see through the VAs that I talk to and the clients that I talk to is that they are looking for help with something that's not working well in their business. It's not going well for them. It's wasting their time or using up too much of their time, or it simply isn't something that is working the way they expected it to, or something that is definitely not giving them the results that they want, even though they maybe know how to do it. So let's talk about that today. Let's go. I'm going to talk about 4 things today, and there are a number of things that I could cover with what struggles business owners face, but I'm going to try and limit it to that and just basically talk about how the little system that I want you to think about, the little checklist is what I want you to be able to follow today. So taking those notes, think about if you're not really clear on why your clients are using you, try to use this little process for in the examples that I'll give you today, and really start working on your own services. You'll go really, really far in terms of being able to communicate how you can help somebody, and in fact, why they really do need you, which is sometimes not the big sell on your discovery calls, but it is the thing that clicks and says to the client, absolutely, yes, I do need this, right? That's where we want to get. So number 1 is organization. One of the simplest services a VA can offer a client is to get them organized. But it's not simple. It's not simple for everybody. It's simple for a lot of VAs because we came from a background of admin and we were the ones who are organized. Not all VAs are organized. That's okay. But it is a really common thing for virtual assistants to offer as a service. And it really is something that a lot of clients struggle with. Just like we were never taught sales or marketing in our admin roles in our corporate jobs, they were technically not taught admin skills because there was always a secretary, there was always a receptionist, there was always somebody there doing that piece, weren't there?
bookkeeping department, all that kind of stuff. So if they were in a front facing role or a sales role, then that was what they excelled at. And that was the thing that that's their area of specialty. It's what they do best. And so it doesn't come easily to a lot of business owners. And as you know, in a lot of the teaching that I do, it's one of the main things that I tell VAs is an in-demand service for virtual assistants. So, how does disorganization show up in their business? And this is really important. I want you to think about all of your services. If you don't offer admin services and organization and that type of thing, think about this in relation to the services that you do offer. How does it show up in their business? In terms of not being organized, they can miss appointments, or they can do the appointments or the discovery calls or the meetings or the events, but then be terrible at their follow-up and then miss out on the sales anyway. And what does that mean? That means that event or that phone call could potentially have been a waste of their time, right? We want to look at things from the bigger picture. It's not about, I can help you keep your appointments on track. Well, what can you do? How can you help them actually make everything that they do get used properly in their business so that they're reaping the best rewards from everything that they're doing? They can also start projects and never finish them. Who's worked with a client like that, who actually does stuff like that in their own business too? I think a lot of this could probably apply to ourselves as well. Or they can half-ass their marketing initiatives and their launches and everything. And when you miss steps, or when you rush things, or when you don't do things to the best of your ability, or the ability that is easy if you get somebody to help you, then it can all add up to your business suffering, right? So just a few points on how does disorganization show up in their business. So the next piece of that is, how can we help? And this is what I want you to get really clear on, is how can you help them? So specifically with missing appointments and that type of thing, we can help them clean out their inboxes and keep their email organized. But what does that mean for them? It means then they get back to people in good time. They always know where to find the things they need, or maybe they keep their clients better informed and taken care of. There's a lot of things that email management and inbox management and those kinds of things, those kinds of services can do. And I want you to get to the root of what it is that is the benefit to the client. I think it's so important that if the client is struggling to do a good job at something like inbox management or scheduling, then you want to be able to help them and explain to them why it's why it's causing an issue in their business, and how getting you in place is going to really help them do really tangible things. Because if they don't do it well, they may not even know what could be working better for them, right? I think that's really important. We can also help them by automating their scheduling or organizing it better so that maybe their day shapes up more efficiently. One of my clients used to have all of her coaching calls back to back on certain days of the week, and she did discovery calls and other speaking gig calls and guest appearances and that type of thing on different days, and it just helped her energy flow a lot better through her day. And so I was able to help her with that scheduling. Even though we had an automated scheduler, it was still, I was the one who was looking after all of that for her. And that's the kind of thing we can do. We can ease their day. We can make things a lot easier for them. We can help them get back to people who inquire, which a lot of people lose inquiries, don't they? And follow up with people that they've connected with so that they can nurture those relationships and again, potentially get new clients, right? We can help them complete the open projects, obviously, and prioritize new ones and figure out how to do things and what is important and when is it important to do those things. And we can help them check off all those tasks needed for the marketing things they do, anything that is important to grow their business. And when you start to articulate those kinds of things, it becomes more than, I can manage your email for you. You want to be able to talk to them about why it's important for them. And often that just starts with telling them what's happening by them not doing things well right now. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I have 3 more things that I'll talk to you about, but I want you to get really clear on that process, right? What are your services? And then what are the struggles that business owners are facing around your services? And I would love it if you would do this little exercise for each of your services. I think you could get a lot out of it. And then, of course, how can we help? But really, really, how can we help? So pick up that thing. What is the problem they're having, and make how can I help directly related to that, just like I did in that example. Number two is time management. For all VAs, time is money. I say it all the time. You guys know that. We are a service business and we trade our time for dollars. It doesn't matter how you do your billing. It doesn't matter if you're billing by the minute, the hour, the project, the task. It doesn't matter. It's all based on time. And we do our work and we get paid for it. So, how does terrible time management show up in your client's business? They can take way too long to get some things done, or they can take too long to get everything done. Some people have no sort of concept of work pace, and they can get really buried down rabbit holes of things that they don't do well or that they just don't even really realize are taking a lot of time. They can simply not do some things that they don't have time for. If they look at their to-do list and they realize they don't have time to get something done, then maybe they're just not going to do it, even if they know it's important. Things like blogging, things like posting to social media, things like a follow-up or creating something that is supposed to be a presentation for a speaking gig that they're doing. Or I mean, I speak a lot about business coaches and that type of thing because that was my niche and that is who I am. So a lot of that stuff is kind of relevant. So maybe they just won't do the thing that they need done because they've run out of time. And then they can spend their time doing many things that are not actually bringing revenue into the business. It's the busy work, right? We talk about it often as well. Things that are not earning them any money, but they think that they need to do. Maybe it is the blog post that's taking them a long time. I remember, I tell you guys about my clients who took 10 hours every single week to put their newsletter together, which seemed important to them, but it was not a revenue generating activity. And as soon as they offloaded it to me, they were able to actually focus with the, big swift kick from their coach in revenue generating activities. And it just made so much more sense. And so, because of course, without revenue, a business cannot survive. So how can we help with the time management? We can help them in a lot of ways. We set up procedures for things that need to be done or teach them how to use automation. Sometimes people don't even understand, even down to the scheduling thing. A lot of people don't have a scheduling software to use, or they don't use an email system. They're constantly emailing people individually. And when we can introduce things like that automation and things that are set up specifically for the clients to use to do things faster and more efficiently, those are things that really can help as well. Of course, we can also take things off their desk so they aren't actually doing them anymore. In the case of my newsletter with my clients, they just didn't do it. And because they told me and they told their coach they had 10 hours every week, she filled their 10 hours with revenue generating activities. I think it's so important, right? And because we take things off their desk and we know how to put things together with processes and automation and that type of thing, it often buys back a lot more than that 10 hours, right? It doesn't cost them 10 hours to have me do the newsletter because I'm doing it more efficiently. It's my area of specialty. And it didn't. It took me 1, maybe 2 hours, right in the beginning to replace them. And they frankly couldn't believe it. We can ensure that the tasks that they say are priorities for them get done each week. I know that one of my clients, that's exactly what we worked on. We had our production call every single Monday and we talked about what was the priority. And sometimes the priority shifted if something new came up and it was, a good opportunity or something like that. But it is really important to talk to your clients about what is important to them and how can we make sure that that gets done, right? Every week or every month. It is really important with tasks like customer service or marketing tasks that are helping to get them visibility. We can also help them spend their time more wisely that will actually bring revenue into their business. So they're supposed to be networking, they're supposed to be working with their clients, they're supposed to be creating new ways to serve their clients. And really, that's all they're supposed to do, right? That's really all we're supposed to do in our business. We're supposed to network, we're supposed to work with our clients, we're supposed to create new ways to serve our clients. That's it's all the same. All business is the same. And we can help them make the most of that time. When we talk about time management, we can teach them little tricks and tips and that kind of thing, but really it's about helping keep them on track as well and managing their time to the best of our ability. I guess as a team it would be you and the client. Number three is tech issues. And you don't have to be a tech goddess to figure out how to provide support for your client. I never really was really crazy into the technology, but I understood it. I have kind of that logical left brain. And so I was pretty good at learning some of the things about websites and blogs and all that techie stuff and that kind of thing. But more what I did was moving into virtual events and online event platforms and that kind of thing, which a lot of people have done in the last couple of years, of course, for reasons we don't like to talk about. But in terms of why we can help or how we can help our clients is we're generally always at least one step ahead of them anyway. And to teach anybody anything or to look after something for anybody, you really do just need to be that one step ahead, right? And we know how much of a struggle it can be to learn something new in our business. If a client says, "Can you learn these 7 event softwares for me so that I can figure out which one I want to use?" And that was a real story from one of my clients, but we did. And but those are the things that we know. Imagine if we're doing it with, and we have even a little bit of a tech background or an understanding of how this particular software is supposed to work. Imagine our clients doing it and trying to just learn everything from the bottom up. It's really, really challenging. So this is a struggle as things have moved more online, particularly in the last 2 or 3 years. A lot of people are doing more and more online, and some people just never did before. We need to be able to help them with these tech issues. So how do tech issues show up in our client's business other than learning all the virtual assistant or virtual event softwares and that type of thing? I'm talking about things like system crashes or data loss, right? A lot of times these are urgent issues and website hosts or servers are sought out, but not always. They generally will make the call first to a virtual assistant, say, "Oh my gosh, my website's offline. What do we do?" And you may not know what to do, but research is going to be your best friend in everything that you do. So you want to, well, I'll tell you about how to help them with that as we go through. Let's stick to the tech issues first. I'm sticking to my system. What are your services? What are your tech services? What are the tech issues or the struggles that show up in our business, in our client's business? Security issues are big ones, right? Viruses or hackers or more and more access for social media platforms. I think that the social media platforms have done a good job of implementing sort of admin access and that type of thing, and lots of two-factor authentication, lots of backup people and that type of thing. But we need to understand these things because our clients are not going to be the ones who learn about it. And that was one of the reasons that I took social media off of my services list quite early into my VA business, because it changed so quickly. But because so many of us are using it now in a different way than we did before, we were literally just publishing posts to it before and hoping that nothing went wrong and trying, to learn a little bit about ads. But now it's so different that we're all using them all the time. And so there is a lot more call for us to understand as the virtual assistant, if we have any commitment to the client and we're using a Facebook group for them, or we're advising them about what to put on a Facebook page or a LinkedIn or any of the social media platforms, we do kind of have a responsibility to understand what could happen in the event that, something does go wrong, and that's a tech issue. Online platform issues. I guess I've talked a little bit about this already. Access, logins, passwords, even recordings and meetings and events, right? There are lots of tech issues. People can't hear, people can't see, people can't log in, those types of things. Membership sites, podcast. There's all kinds of different tech that we are using these days that is new and fresh. And again, it's not our client's responsibility to learn about all these things. We want to know how to help them not struggle. And then another one is just online file storage and management, where their stuff is. I know that there's a big draw, between Dropbox and Google. And then I guess some of the Microsoft products too. But for me, those are the two that I use, is Dropbox and Google. And you have to be able to look and find the things that you need. Talk about time management. If you're constantly looking for something and you can't find it because the filing system is not very good, it can be a real struggle. So how can we help our clients with these types of tech issues? I've mentioned a couple of solutions already, but we can help them get safeguards and backup systems in place. We don't want our clients losing their data, and we don't have to be able to log in when they're locked out of their website or their any other thing that they have online, and they can't get to things, but we can help them put those things in place ahead of time, right? And have a plan for security and what happens whenever things go wrong. I think that's a really good thing to be able to offer as a VA, and it's something that we can learn the basics of and explain and document kind of what they need to do. Let them know where things are. If the website crashes, have a procedure document. What do you do? Who do you contact? What do you look for? And what are the, common error messages? I think that's something that doesn't take a lot of time. It's not an ongoing project, but it's something that you can offer to your clients and as a way of being able to help them get back up whenever things are a struggle. Um, and obviously ensuring that those secondary people are in place for social media accounts. I know that for me on my personal Facebook, I know that I can have like two other people that they will call if I get locked out of my account for any reason. One of the funny things I've heard lately, and this was not part of my session for today, but I'm just thinking about it, is looking at and maybe do this for your client too. This is about getting ahead of it, is looking at the email addresses that they use to log into places and making sure that those are still valid. I've heard more recently about I don't have access to that email anymore. So once I got locked out of my Facebook account, I can't get back in again. Like I've heard 3 or 4 people very, very recently not being able to do that. So you want to make sure that you can do things like that. Those are struggles that business owners will have. They've built up this following in Facebook and all of a sudden they get locked out, or, they can't get back into it for some reason, for a really, really simple reason. So these are the things that we can help with, right? So if you do offer any kind of social media help or whatever, think about the extent of this kind of thing, and let your clients know that you can help them with the tech issues as well. Systems in place, managing passwords, managing event recordings, even moderating their events and that type of thing to help their clients have a better experience whenever they are working with them. There are so many different things. And of course, the online files and file storage and management, you can help them by creating naming conventions and, files and folders, and that's a little bit of organization as well, but really just getting them to where they need to be so that everybody can find what they need, and it makes sense and it's easy. That's a very simple, it seems very simple to us, but it's really not to our clients. And it can be something that you can have a conversation with them about and paint this beautiful picture in their head where they say, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I need, because I can never find what I'm looking for and I don't know how to fix that, right? So that's how we fix it. The last thing is creativity. And I sort of struggled with what to call this little section because I'm not all that creative. And so, ha ha ha, that's a little bit of a pun, I think. But it's about good looking marketing collateral, right? Graphics and images and all the things that we put out there, whether it's our presentations or our workbooks or our images or all of those kinds of things. That's what I would, sort of put all into creativity. All of that stuff, when it looks fantastic, obviously helps people to grow their audience and their business. It looks good. People respond well to it. It's aesthetically pleasing for sure. But amateur looking stuff or stuffy looking stuff, like things that are just too corporate with no personality and that type of thing, it can really derail your efforts. And so we want to make sure that the efforts that we're putting into selling our programs and our services and that type of thing are backed by something that makes us look good as well, right? Luckily, the creativity area is a very strong service for a lot of VAs. So how do creativity show up in a client, or creativity issues show up in a client's business? Again, this is your question, right? Do you offer creative services? If so, the second question is how do these issues or struggles show up in a client's business? And then we're going to talk about how we can help. I mentioned a couple already, plain presentations. If you don't stand out, or if your client doesn't stand out or look good, it may make them look a little less professional to their clients. And as I was making these notes, I'm like, oh, I'm not very creative myself. I'm not terrible anymore, but I think my stuff has come a long way as well. Maybe your clients put together crappy workbooks or don't even provide workbooks or handouts for their clients. Maybe then because they just don't do a good job of them, or they don't know how, or that type of thing. And that's something that you can bring to them. How does that impact their business? Well, their clients may not implement their teachings fully or easily. And I think that that's one of the things that a good handout can do, is help their clients complete the work and actually put it together in the way that you intend to teach it. I know for me, whenever I do a handout for any of the teaching that I do, and the customers or the clients can follow along with things, or the students, it really makes a big difference in the way that they get the work done. So I think that that's one of the things that we can talk about. Why is it important to have a workbook? Because it will help your clients do the things they need to do to learn your teachings and implement what it is that they're learning from you. Things like unbranded colors, fonts, and graphics. That's just plain bad graphic design, right? And so we want to make sure that we are helping our clients put together something that looks polished, that looks professional, and that makes them look great all over the internet. And really, I think too, I talk about this fairly often as well in terms of branding, is I notice the people that I follow, the people that I am starting to understand. I notice their stuff coming into my feed, and of course, your clients audience will notice that too. And it really helps with that know, like, and trust factor, right? That KLT, where they need to see, it needs to be reinforced several times, 4 to 10 times, or even more these days, that somebody has the expertise that you need in order for you to help them out. And so it is really important, I think, for us in a social media capacity or in a graphics capacity to be able to showcase our clients in that way. And then the other issue with graphics and things that clients don't even realize, actually, it's probably really frustrates graphic designers and graphic, I guess, social media VAs to no end, is Google search images that could be copyrighted. People are using them in their blog posts all the time and don't even think anything of it. They Google a picture, they think it's cute, they put it into their presentation or into their blog post, and it could cause legal issues down the road, couldn't it? And I think it's probably less capable, less likely in a PowerPoint presentation, but oftentimes it's on blogs and that type of thing. And this can actually come into, if you look at somebody's blog and that's a service that you provide, you could actually look at them and say, even never mind the legal issues or the fact that you have to take them down, but it's the cost of actually redoing all of the work that you're doing. Why not just do it well from the start, right? So all of those things are the creativity issues that can show up in your client's business. So, how can we help? I think I've given a little bit of information about how we can help already, but we certainly can create eye catching presentations, beautiful handouts, and it's going to up level everything that they do, particularly if it's a program that somebody is running and we can run that thread all the way through it. I know that I love a good looking handout just like everybody. Not everybody prints everything anymore, but even having, cover pages and those kinds of things that are branded and look professional, it definitely up levels your client's business. We obviously can use systems like Canva to create templates. So all of their stuff is not just cohesive and professional, but easy to reproduce, right? I know for me, I have sort of I think I have 4 templates for my blog images, and it makes it really easy for my team to create the graphics every single time because we kind of rotate through and we look at, what sort of makes sense with the title and that type of thing. But it makes it a lot faster. I know that I used to spend hours trying to come up with an idea for a graphic, and there are templates in Canva, of course, but when you start to pull things together for your clients, you want to make their stuff look different than sort of the stock stuff that's also in Canva, right? So you want to be able to do that. But we just basically want them to look more polished and elevate things. And like I say, saving them a ton of time if it's something that they don't do well. This for me is a really big reason for me to get help with my social media, is that I get lost. I get down that rabbit hole. I second guess everything that I do. I'm not sure whether my spacing is right and if all my stuff looks good. And so, branding is really, really important in that place, right? And so those are the things that we can help with creativity. So, like I said earlier, there are a lot of things that our clients struggle with, but these 4 I think are pretty common ones. And what I really wanted to show you is the little process to think about. What is your service? What is the issue or the struggle that the business owner is encountering, and how can you help them fix it? And really talk about those things, the reasons you, or the ways that you can help them, and what that will impact their, how that will impact their business for them. I hope that's what you got from today's episode, is how to describe that struggle. And they don't probably even realize what's going wrong in their business, to be honest, and what is the most important thing for them to get help with. Sometimes they have a list and they think, oh, this is the first thing that should go. But when you start to have conversations with people about how they are really being impacted by the things that they're not doing well, or that they could be getting help within their business, they can change that most important thing to get off their desk pretty quickly and to say, wow, that makes a whole lot more sense. We should really get this done because I need to increase my visibility, or I need to look better, or I need to get things done faster. I need to do more marketing. I need to get back to my people faster, whatever all those things are. Or I need to not spend so much time on tech support and trying to figure all this kind of stuff out. So many things, right? So when you can reframe everything for them and describe that struggle and the relief that they are going to see by getting help, you can help them move into the action to say yes and to work with you. And of course, if you're working with a target market, it will help with this client, and it will help with the next one and the next one and the next one after that. Now, I also said I talked just briefly about how you can help a client when things aren't so bad in their business, when they know they have to get someone to help them. They're looking for growth in their business and they know where to get the help, or they know that they need to hire a VA to get that help. Maybe they need your organization skills to pull off a huge event or launch or a new podcast or something like that. There are a lot of details and they need those all covered. They know they need that already. Maybe they need to have you do things for them because they're super busy and they don't have time to manage all of the details they shouldn't be managing anyway. Maybe that's how they already know that you can help them with their time management. And maybe they want you to help them with their tech and creativity so that you can help them stand out. Maybe they know how to do it. Maybe they have a Canva account. Maybe they have all the templates. Maybe they have all the time in the world, but they know that they need you to help them or they need you to help them up level just that much more. Right? So a lot of business owners already know exactly why they need our help, and we still talk to them in the same way. We want to talk to them about what the issue is and why it is so important, because when we're placing value on ourselves as the virtual assistant, we want to talk very, very clearly about their business and how we can make it better. It's really important. And I think it's a great exercise to actually ask clients who do know. If they say, yes, I absolutely know, I'm starting a podcast and I need a virtual assistant to do all of these things, and you can have a conversation with them and ask them why it's important and pull those words actually from them. That can be a really good exercise for you as well. What they think they will get from it, or if you're already working with somebody, what they are getting from working with you. And then you can use that same language for your other clients. It's pretty cool. So, just to recap, think of these 3 questions every single time. What do you do that you can help a client with? Like, what are your services? Number 2, how does it show up in their business when they struggle with that particular task or service or thing? And number 3, how can you help them? Specifically, how can you help them? The clearer you can get on this, the more you are going to have great conversations with your clients. If you want my help to figure out how to start talking to your clients in a language that they understand and that they will buy from you, i.e., hire you, reach out to me at tracy@yourvamentor.com. I've helped hundreds of VAs through their challenges and got them on their way to the next thing. I'd love to do the same thing for you. I do private coaching, and my new mastermind, the Virtual Circle, registration is open now. Maybe one of the things I offer is right for you. That's all I have for you this week. Thanks for tuning in to learn how to become a ridiculously good virtual assistant.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Ridiculously Good VA Show. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a thing. For more great resources for your VA business, visit my website at yourvamentor.com. I'll see you back here next time.